The issue with Western psychology is that even in the midst of colonial violence, social injustice, and climate crisis, Western therapy will neglect the need for systemic change and instead label and diagnose you to disempower and distract you. Saludos, I'm Doctora Rocio. I'm a seer, a medicine woman, and a counseling psychology PhD. If a diagnosis has hurt you, or if you are a therapist uncomfortable with diagnosing, this video is for you. The first teaching I want to share is that therapy does offer healing. I do believe in therapy because ultimately it is an indigenous practice. The problem is that its current manifestation is Western colonial therapy. Mainstream therapy is the problem because it does invite in colonial collusion. It indoctrinates us into a colonial way of being, a colonial way of seeing the world, and into hyper-individuality. This unconsciously has us upholding a colonial paradigm, and this is harmful. And so there is a need to decolonize therapy and to decolonize our practice if we are to offer true healing and healing that liberates. If you've received medicine from today's teaching, I want to invite you to join my newsletter through the link in description, where you will receive a free workbook to begin your journey. The second teaching I want to share with you is the danger of diagnosis in Western therapy. I want to acknowledge that diagnosis may be helpful for some people, that having information about certain ways that we are is helpful. However, while a diagnosis may be helpful for some people, what I also believe is that the colonial paradigm uses diagnoses as a tactic and a way to disempower us and distract us from the real problems in our society. When we are diagnosed for appropriate reactions to colonial violence, we are actually made to be the problem. I believe the colonial paradigm and Western psychology, as an arm of the colonial paradigm, uses diagnosis to make us be the problem, for us to internalize and blame ourselves instead of seeing that the true issue is the systemic problems that we are experiencing. When we feel like we are the problem, when we receive a diagnosis, we feel that we are the problem. We no longer look at our surroundings, what is going on in society. Instead, we take blame. And we feel that there is something that needs to change within us instead of within our society. This is why diagnosis is dangerous, because it distracts us from the real problem. Essentially, Western therapy uses diagnoses to distract us from the real problem, that the real problem is colonization and not our appropriate reactions to colonization. Instead of really having us focus on colonial violence and encouraging us to change that, empowering us to change that, the colonial Western therapy field diagnoses our appropriate reactions as anxiety or clinical depression. What is the truth is that these reactions, being depressed, feeling anxious, are healthy reactions to living in a colonial capitalist patriarchy. If Western therapy were to truly name colonization as the root of all of our unwellness, our society would feel empowered to change. We would feel encouraged to truly change our world and to truly see the root of all of our problems, so that we would take up our sacred responsibility to shift this paradigm. And so really the colonial tactic here is that Western therapy alleviates themselves of their responsibility to society. While we believe that Western therapy is benevolent, it is actually in collusion with the colonial paradigm. It alleviates itself of its responsibility to change these oppressive systems and instead causes you to be the problem by diagnosing you. What I hope that you are receiving from today's teaching is that while diagnoses may be helpful for some people, that you also become critical of the way that you are made to be the problem. That you also begin to see that maybe what you are experiencing, anxiety or depression, are very healthy and appropriate reactions to colonial violence. That you do not blame yourself for experiencing this, but instead see this as a reflection of what needs to change in our world.